So I just got done watching all 6 episodes of Demascus, and we really need to talk about that ending. Oh my God, I was not expecting such a dark, ambiguous ending.
But my name is Demascus.
It says here on your license, Demarcus.
Which reality is real, Demarcus or Demascus? So we're going to talk about that. But before we do, let me introduce myself. My name is Brandi, and I realize that you could be on any channel in the world, but you're right here with me. And I really do appreciate that. So before we get started, please go ahead and like this video. It really does help the channel. And also subscribe to the channel if you like watching TV show reviews and also movie reviews. So obviously, since I want to focus on the ending of Demascus on Tubi, this video will have spoilers. But I realize some people watch these videos without even watching the series, right? So I do want to just quickly give you the premise of this show. A 33-year-old black man on a know thyself mission begins an experimental immersion therapy that sends him into alternate timelines of his own life. So I did do another review video on Demascus when I was only 1 episode in, and I rated it. It is a solid 10 over 10 so far. But let me tell you, my rating came down just a notch. The series is still phenomenal. I loved it, but I would have to give it a 9 over 10. Just because that first episode, it was so amazing, so funny, and I was not expecting the series to go as far left as it did. So that first episode felt a little bit disjointed from the rest of the series. So throughout this series, we see the main character, Demascus or Demarcus, using DIRT, the digitally immersive reality technology, the device that goes over his head, to enter into different realities. And the realities we see him enter are, we see him as a priest, we see him as a protected big brother, we see him with locks as a writer, we see him as a homosexual in love with his best friend Red. We see him in so many different lights. And at the end, we see him in an insane asylum. And the question is, which reality is real? Now, I do want to mention that the therapist played by Aunt Viv, aka Janet Hubert, was really the villain in this series. She was a horrible therapist, and she had no business continually allowing Demascus or Demarcus to keep using this device, right? He had already reported to her on different occasions that he was experiencing ringing in his ears. He was having bouts of being nauseous, and he was having episodic loss of time and space. So why continue to let him keep using it? And also, she saw it with her own eyes that he was becoming addictive to these immersive experiences, and he was becoming disconnected from real life. So why continue on this mission, right? And this show, let me tell you, that's the reason why it gives me Black Mirror vibes, okay? Because it's a lot of social commentary behind this, right? Within the medical industry, or therapists keep continuing something just to bill insurance companies, right? So I think, to me, if this series does get a season 2, we need to explore Aunt Viv a little bit more and why she kept pushing this therapy on Demascus.
I'm not him, all right? But on behalf of Demarcus, I forgive you.
And so who are you?
I'm Demascus.
So in my opinion, I think that the primary reality is the first Demascus that we meet when the show starts. The Demascus that works for the government in the marketing department as a graphic designer. The Demascus that doesn't have a sister. The Demascus that lives in DC in his mother's house that she left to him after she passed, right? And I just think that he's stuck in the alternate reality of Demarcus, right? This is a classic Black Mirror episode. If you know, you know. I'm a big Black Mirror fan, okay? And we see that on Black Mirror and other sci-fi shows, your subconscious can get stuck somewhere when you do these virtual reality things. Now let's zoom into the end of the series, right? On the end of episode 5, we see Demascus using the DIRT within DIRT, right? We see him as the locks, right? When he was a writer, when he was going to see his mother's retirement and about to give a speech, but he ended up passing out, right? Then we see him still in that reality with his locks. He goes to see the therapist, and she allows him to use DIRT again. So again, he's using DIRT within DIRT. Like, he's double dirting, y'all. And then we see the whole DIRT system malfunctioning.
Override.
And in my opinion, she wasn't doing enough to stop anything. I didn't see her making any phone calls. I didn't see her making a fuss. But in the next scene, we then see Demascus on a plane. So I guess when he had the locks and he entered another reality, he entered into the airplane Demascus, right? So we see Damascus on the plane as a passenger on an empty plane, and we also see Damascus as the pilot of the plane. So we have two Damascuses now. But this is where we find out like Damascus versus Demarcus, right? Because if you notice, when he goes to the insane asylum and he comes to, when he hits his head in the bathtub, she shows him, Viv, she shows him a copy of his driver's license, right? And it says Demarcus on his driver's license, if you notice, right? But if you also notice, he was dressed as a pilot on that driver's license. Now, let me tell you, I was so confused after seeing his license say Demarcus, but then I had to remember he could be in another multiverse where a lot of games are being played, right? Where he doesn't know what's real. But he said one thing. He said, why am I in control? Why do I feel like I'm in control? Because usually when he enters these different universes, he enters as a voyeur and he cannot control the narrative at all. But when he comes to an insane asylum, he actually is in control. So throughout the whole episode 6, we see Demascus trying to convince everybody that he's in fact Demascus and not Demarcus. He's trying to convince the nurse, which was played by Shakira Janai Pay. Beautiful woman, by the way. And he's trying to convince Aunt Viv. He's trying to convince Red, aka Blue. He's trying to convince everybody in the asylum that he is in fact Demascus. And his sister, Shanae, from episode 1, she comes to visit him at the asylum with Drew, who's not dead because that was just a multiverse, right? But she comes up there and he's trying to convince her too at first. But then he gives up at a point, right? He's like, why am I still trying to convince them? Let me play the game as if I am Demarcus and let me just find a way to get up out of here. That's what I think he was thinking. So at the end of the series, when Aunt Viv, she's giving him like one of the last sessions and she's like, well, who are you? What's your name? And he's like, I'm Demarcus. I suspect that he was stuck. He was trapped in his alternate reality. Once that device started glitching and he started tweaking, I think things got a little bit out of control, right? I'm not sure where his real body is, right? I'm not sure if he's still in a therapist's office, but I believe that his subconscious just got uploaded into this alternate reality and that he's stuck there and he's trying to find a way out. And again, referencing Black Mirror, this reminds me of the episode USS Callister, guys. I don't know if you're a Black Mirror fan, but check that one out, okay? This gives vibes of that particular episode of your subconscious being stuck somewhere, but your body is somewhere else. It's so many different ways you can interpret this ending, okay? And I love that they played that J. Cole song at the end of this series, like that it's no life better than yours, right? Because that's exactly what we saw. Every reality that Demascus went into, he even admitted it, that he's experiencing like heartache, heartbreak. He's not finding happiness. In every reality, we see him with the same patterns, right? He's a very insecure guy. Doesn't quite know who he is, and he's very like standoffish and doesn't really do a good job at keeping in contact with people. But let me tell you, that really resonated with me, like his patterns in different realities, right? I think that's really why I gave the series a 9/10. I just love seeing the mental health aspect of this show. So the series finally ends off with Demascus writing in the journal in his cell, right? In his asylum cell. And he's writing that my name is Demascus Haynes. I am the son of Teresa Haynes. And that's where it could be like interpreted so many different ways. Like, is he trying to convince himself that he is Demascus or he's really Demascus? But in my opinion, I think that he really is Demascus. And hopefully when we get a season 2, or if we get a season 2, they can explore that a little bit more. But super dope show. A little bit confusing, but I love dark, ambiguous endings like this where you can interpret it however you want to interpret it, guys. But comment down below. Let me know what you think about this show as well. What did you rate it? Were you confused by the ending? Would you rewatch it again? Just comment down below. Talk to me a little bit, guys. And also, again, if you do like watching TV shows, reviews, and movie reviews, please subscribe to the channel and make sure you like this video. See you next time. Peace.